You pay taxes on dogs and horses?
Yeah.
It is daylight robbery out here. Don't come here.
And during retirement, because surprise, you also pay taxes during retirement.
No.
No
me digas. Today I have a very special guest with me. I have my friend Martina.
Hi, my name is Martina. I am working as a financial advisor. Financial planning is incredibly individual, so there is no kind of playbook that we have to follow every single time. There's just strategies and principles, and how do we apply them for your personal needs.
Exactly. And in this video, we're really gonna break it down to like financial wellness and planning 101. So no question is a dumb question. I'm gonna be asking all the dumb questions for you, don't worry. And if you like what we're saying here, don't forget to drop us a follow and subscribe. You can see my Instagram handle in the back, and then Martina's Instagram handle in the back as well. So check us out on Instagram, check us out on TikTok, YouTube, all the socials, and Los Gates. TLDR, we need your money to be doing something more than just sitting here in the bank, which I know is a very typical solution for women to do, because we're just told that we're spending too much money on avocado toast and that's why we don't have a house. But if we're saving all of our cash here, we're setting it on fire and leaving it at risk of being worth less thanks to inflation.
And that leads to people rethinking as well. Okay, my spending habits. It's not my job as a financial planner to tell people constantly, oh, budget, you can take 20 away from here, whatever. Obviously, I can comment on the situation and be like, okay, you might want to rethink all those 25 subscriptions that you have, and because you have a gap here or whatever, yes. But the general principle of financial planning is, if there ideally is a surplus here, and there are some assets here, and the emergency fund is there, and the basics are there, then everything else should be working towards getting your money to work for you in your sleep.
Exactly.
So this protects your money against inflation, making sure that your money is growing and multiplying. And this is what the rest of the cash flow is for. But in order to get there, we're still missing one step.
What is the step?
Risk analysis.
Oh God, there's so many things to think of, which is why you have us.
Yeah, so risk is not very joyful. No one likes to talk about it. It's a very dry topic sometimes for most people. I find it personally quite fascinating.
Same.
It is super important because it's like building a house, as you will see very soon. It's like building a house. And if the house doesn't have a steady foundation, the whole thing comes crumbling apart with the first storm there is. So in Germany, I'm gonna make this joke. How many insurances do you think there are in Germany?
Well, I have 3 insurances already, and I'm like quite risky, I would say. I'm gonna guess there's about 20 different insurances you can have.
Even more.
Even more? Okay, let's play a little bit of Can You Insure It? Welcome back to another German game of Can You Insure It? You might be surprised about what we have here. So let's start, of course, with an easy one, Martina. Can you insure cameras in Germany?
Yes. Under specific circumstances, yes.
Okay, and what type of insurance is that?
An insurance for a camera.
Okay, so...
Fotoapparat.
Okay, so it's literally about the camera.
Fotoapparatversicherung.
Okay, maybe I should get that for my things. What if you're like Mean Girls, Regina George, and your hair is really important to everything that you do? Can I insure my hair?
To the extent of my knowledge, no.
No! Okay, we cannot insure hair in Germany.
Why would you want to though?
It's a very important part of my social media standing. Okay, we have e-bikes. Can I insure my e-bike?
Yes, you can.
That seems like a bad business model, because in Berlin it's always getting stolen.
Part of the insurance, like one of the insurance, house content insurance, for example, covers theft under specific conditions of bikes and e-bikes.
Okay, interesting. What about pets?
Yes, some are compulsory, like dogs and horses.
Okay,
Which you also pay taxes on.
You pay taxes on dogs and horses?
Yeah.
It is daylight robbery out here. Don't come here. All right, last but not least, hands. Can I insure my hands?
This is a very interesting one. You can. question is not whether you can for all of these insurances, is whether it is worth it and applicable to your situation. So if you're a surgeon, world-class surgeon, and this is your asset in your workforce, then perhaps relevant.
What if you're a YouTube star?
Well, for example, we had this case in our company. We've worked with someone who was a content creator, and they are all about filming, right?
Yeah.
And if they suddenly get tremors or for whatever reason Parkinson or carpal tunnel or something happens in that direction, they suddenly are not in the same position to work with the materials as they do today.
Interesting. Okay, well, I learned something today. Thank you for playing Can You Insure It with us today. So coming back to our graph, now that we know what options we have and why we shouldn't be storing all of our life savings in a bank account, what's next?
What's next is risk management. So when we talk about, it is common knowledge that there are a lot of things you can insure in Germany. But joke aside, a lot of people don't wonder about why is it that there is such a big insurance culture? What is it about like the idiosyncrasy of this population that this has become a thing? Why is it necessary? And here, again, the principle of as much as needed, but as little as possible applies, because depending on your particular life situation and your particular profession and needs, what is justified to have. It's not the idea to be over-insured. It's like having 3 rows of teeth. You don't need that, you're not a shark.
No.
The other way, not having teeth also not useful.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't realize, and it's very important, is the first step when working with an advisor, we had this when we did liquidity management, was understanding what is it that you're already paying into the state. You're paying quite a lot of money into statutory insurances. However, this is being underinsured.
So all the money that I'm giving to the government currently for my insurances, for my healthcare insurance, for my pension, it's not enough to cover me until I die.
Unfortunately not.
Okay, so let's just be clear all together. We need to be doing something extra in addition to the supplementary state contributions.
To be well insured, to have the basic standard to sustain your living standards, to keep buying the same amount of ice cream, this does not suffice, and especially for expats, this is a big issue. We will look into this in our series of videos in more detail, but just so you know, this comes from the government. So the German state sends you letters, it's everywhere, hidden in plain sight. And this is why the existential and basic insurances in Germany is the foundation so that your wealth management is bulletproof.
Absolutely.
We have health insurance, Krankenversicherung. So this is so important that it is compulsory by law to have it.
Yes. Is that the health insurance?
Yes, health insurance.
Got
health and care insurance.
Okay, and the cool thing about Germany is there's multiple health and care insurances that you can choose from. And even though my company offers us our own version, I'm part of an automobile's larger, what was it called? Krankenkasse, because it has more flexibility for me, and it's one of the best programs in the country.
There are so many different options, and there is the option between being statutory insured, having the privilege to opt into private if you wanted to, or use private building blocks to complement your statutory coverage as well, depending on your individual needs and family planning and future perspectives. This is a fascinating topic that we love to consult on. The second insurance is what other risks, I'm gonna ask you, Vanessa, what do you remember? What other risks are there? What could happen to you that suddenly could jeopardize, I'm gonna try not to, gonna do it in green.
Great.
So what could be a risk that endangers your sources of income?
What if I become sick and unable to work the 12 jobs that I'm currently working?
Workforce insurance.
That's an important one. I will say that as an American, I almost don't believe that someone will actually take care of me if I'm unable to work. But the culture of insurances here in Germany is quite strong. And so that expectation of getting support is a very real and valid one, even though it feels uncomfortable from my American perspective.
This is a very brutally German thing. I wasn't aware of this when I went to Germany either. I didn't even know, it didn't even occur to me that this is a thing. But the coverage from Social Security is basically, for expats at least, completely disregardable. In this case, I summarize it as EKS, so Einkommenssicherung, the insurance of your income, so workforce insurance. And this is your most valuable asset. Not sure if you ever thought about this, but workforce is your capability to get things going is your most valuable asset.
And that's why I'm working on passive income streams.
Very important. And it should be enough not only until your retirement age, but also beyond that. And if it's not enough yet, then perhaps it is the privilege that this is available in Germany gives security on different levels. 1 in every 4 academics in Germany has a period, at least one part of their lives, to spend some time unable to work. 1 in every 4 academics.
Is that so? So when you say academics, do you mean a teacher for high school and like Abitur, or also university?
Yes, university academics, like meant as professionals working in the intellectual field, working in professions that are not physically tolling in any way. So basically you're not building walls or you're not carrying heavy things around.
Are we academics?
We are academics.
Interesting. My calculus grade would suggest otherwise. Okay, so 1 in 4, you said?
1 in 4.
1 in 4 of us will prolong an unemployment period. Wow.
Yeah. 1 in every 4 people are affected by this, and it's normal. We sit all day.
Yeah.
I mean, we sit all day, we're in front of the screens, we're constantly in social media, health habits have changed over time. This is taking a toll in our mental and physical health.
True. So it's not just physical disability, it's also mental disability.
Yeah, it's
Got it.
The biggest reason actually.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that completely.
These are 2, and then we have 2 more.
What else can we insure, Martina?
One is called private liability. You might have heard of this. Private Haftpflichtversicherung.
This is the one that protects you if you damage someone else's stuff.
Yeah, for example, this is the one that your landlords are gonna like pester you to have when you live somewhere. This is a very important one because in Germany there's no threshold as to how much money you can owe someone for creating pecuniary, personal, physical damages.
They can just keep racking up the bill. Okay, I'll try not to injure someone.
Can happen, obviously it's not gonna be on purpose.
Yeah.
But it could just happen that this is the case and then for example you lost your keys and then for whatever reason you have to replace the entire building.
Yep.
Or your flower pot falls down and just hits someone on the head and then you have to replace their entire salary suddenly. This can put people in debt and it is one of the most inexpensive and elemental insurances and the only one that does not directly have to do with Social Security. Social Security, you have health and nursing care, workforce, and pensions. These are the 4 basic risks that should be somehow present in your planning. So before we jump into wealth management, which is what I encourage every single person to do to get their money to work for them as soon as possible, create a foundation for yourself with this is stable way you know that you're optimizing, because these options also in some ways allow you to optimize your cash flow from the get-go.
And I think people might be wondering to themselves right now, Martina, if they're not in Germany, they're in a different country.
Yeah.
Are these typical for that country potentially?
This is widely varied. Like I work with expats all day, coming from everywhere, and you see the cultural difference in many different countries, many different systems. It's a very, very, very good starting point. So first of all is, what are you familiar with? This is a starting point of every consultation. What are you familiar with? Are you more a country that has a lot to do with insurances? Are you a country that has no insurances, no social security at all, and this is new to you? The principles of financial planning, however, are something you can always apply regardless of where you come from. So if you're living in a different country and you're watching this video, then the principle of investing your money and getting it to work for you, the principle of balancing your assets and your expenses in different ways, the principle of making sure that for the long term, you're thinking long term, you're getting your money to work for you the longest, the principle of making sure that if something happens to you or your health, no one else comes in harm for that, or not even yourself in this case. The principle of making sure that there's extra money if something were to happen, if they don't directly sue you, still necessarily have the necessary liquidity for emergencies as well. So these are backbone of financial planning.
Yep, I love that. So once we understand the insurances that we can supplement our income and our state benefits with, what is the next part of understanding your financial wellness?
Well, then basically you're out of this hamster wheel.
Great.
Because you're already in a foundation where you can start creating wealth and flowing all your assets without any second thoughts into making sure that you build wealth management, right? And we have here, basically, I'm gonna write pension here. I'm gonna write midterm assets. What exactly these things are, we will see in further videos of this series. But basically, this is what's happening with your remaining money or existing assets. You are investing money means putting money into assets.
What's an asset?
So, anything you put money into that generates more money for you.
Is my computer an asset?
That's an expense.
An expense?
It's a working tool in the sense that you can use it as a tool to create, basically to do your work as a channel, but itself is an expense and it's gonna depreciate over time. So the computer is not worth the same as it was 2-3 years ago.
I have a lot of clients that want to spend money on a new car because they think it's a status symbol and that they can resell it later on. But is the car a liability or an asset?
From the minute the car leaves the manufacturer, it's starting to lose value.
Exactly.
Obviously, there is a market for classic cars, for collectors and so on. That is a different type of assets, like collecting watches and so on. And you can speculate it's a highly volatile market, changes a lot in time on the perceptive value of how scarce this resource is, right? It's a basic principle there in the less we have from something, the more valuable it could become, depending to popularity. But on itself, when we talk about investment, we're talking about something that is proactively generative, passive income. So this little box here, this is the dream for a lot of clients. So again, this is a personal individual situation, right? So we take a look into what is it you want to achieve. But it is always definitely worth mentioning, having just one source of income is one step away from poverty.
Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow. And if you don't have any additional income sources, like this is not the video where you panic. This is the video where you start to understand what your additional options are. And as we progress in this series / in my Financial Fluency Masterclass, we start exploring other ways to generate income and to make sure that these expenses don't eat up all of our cash in order to have options here.
And also one of the most common misconception when it comes to this is, it is not, do we do long-term planning or midterm planning? It is, what combination of both assets do we do in which life circumstance or geographical flexibility situation that we have, so that your cash flow is in the best possible shape now and in the future.
Exactly. Martina, if people want to work with you, where can they find out more information?
You can find more information at expats.com. And also follow us on Instagram if you feel like having the daily news on what we're up to and the information that we provide. We provide many of cost-free educational resources such as workshops, talks for companies as well if you feel like your colleagues should know about this. But if you have any personal questions, you can always reach out directly through Vanessa, through our handle, for our personal accounts. We are an ever-growing team of over 14 advisors Germany-wide at the moment, but over 1,500 other companies. So don't be shy, let us know.
Absolutely, and those details are going to be linked in the description, so check out more information there. Thanks for watching. If you liked that video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.